Crazy mom tried to get her spoiled kid to play on my PC. So for some context, I'm 15 and I have a gaming PC. My mom has a friend who I'll call Crazy Karen, and she has a very spoiled son. This kid had already cracked the screen on my Switch before this incident, so I wasn't keen on letting him use my stuff again. One day, Crazy Karen barged into my room while I was playing. "Your son wants to play on your Xbox," she said, pointing at my PC. "Sorry, but he won't be playing on my PC," I replied. "I didn't ask. He will be playing on your Xbox." I sighed, recalling the last time he played with anything. Last time he played with my stuff, he threw a tantrum and broke my Switch. I had to pay to fix that. "Oh, don't worry," she said dismissively. "I told him not to do that again." "Even then, your child gets angry too easily. He'll end up breaking something," I warned. "Hey, stop being so disrespectful. You're way too old for games anyway," she shouted. "I'm not being disrespectful. I just don't want your child breaking my property again." "Do you act this spoiled to your mother?" she retorted. "You aren't my mother, and you're being unreasonable. I have every right to say no. That's it. Either you let my son play, or you'll be grounded." "What are you going to do? You aren't my parent," I replied, shaking my head. As she stormed out of my room, I got up to grab some water, preparing for whatever she'd say to my mom. From the kitchen, I heard her yelling in the living room. "Your child is extremely disrespectful and refuses to let my child use the Xbox." "Is this true?" my mom asked, having overheard the argument. "Not really. I just don't want her kid breaking more of my stuff," and she wouldn't stop asking me. "Stop lying. You clearly," Crazy Karen interrupted. "My child is telling the truth. I heard you yelling at them. You shouldn't raise your child like that." "Learn to tell them no," my mom said firmly. "Don't tell me you've never given anything to your kid. No wonder they're so miserable." Crazy Karen shot back. "I can still hear you," I chimed in. "I wasn't talking to," she began, but my mom cut her off. "Now I know where your kid gets it from. You're insufferable when you're with your child." The argument escalated, and I hadn't seen them together since. Then I heard a commotion from my room. I rushed back to find Crazy Karen's son yelling and crying. "Hey, what are you doing?" I asked. "Your game machine isn't working," he shouted, slamming my keyboard. "It was just on the lock screen because it had been idle. And I didn't let you use my computer. Get off the chair." "But I want to play," he whined. "Ask your mommy for an iPad instead. Using other people's stuff is not okay, you know." "But mommy said I could use your game machine," he protested. "She didn't ask me first. And that's what matters. Think about it. Would you like it if someone used your Xbox without asking?" "No," he replied. "Then you shouldn't use other people's stuff without permission. If you were older, the police could take you away for that, you know." "But I'm not a robber," he yelled. I was just trying to calm him down. "You know Santa? He doesn't like it when people are selfish. You should stop using my computer. Or else I'll call Santa and tell him to put you on the naughty list." I pretended to dial a number on my phone. "No, don't do that," he cried, clearly still believing in Santa. "Get off the chair then," I said. Just then, my mom entered the room with Crazy Karen. "Hey, your mommy has to go. Let's go with her," she said to the boy. "No," he shouted. "She told me you'll get lots of candy if you stop yelling and go with her," my mom encouraged. "Fine, I'll stop yelling," he said begrudgingly, taking off my headphones and leaving my room. After that, I talked to my mom about the situation. She reassured me that I didn't have to worry about it and that she was no longer friends with Crazy Karen. Hopefully, that's the end of the crazy antics trying to invade my space. The day I used the nuclear option, I remember the day I received a call that started off like any other. "Hello, IT," I said. "Hi, I need your help," the user replied. "Okay, what's the problem?" I asked, expecting a typical tech issue. "I need you to incubate something on my computer." At that moment, I thought, what fresh challenge is this? "What do you mean?" I probed. "Look, if you can't help, can you put me through to a senior tech?" I took a breath. "It's not that I can't help. I just need more information about your problem. It's simple. There's something on my computer, and you need to put it in incubation for me." "What type of file is it?" "I don't know. I can't do anything because the program needs admin rights. That's why I need you." "Have you downloaded a file or visited a questionable website?" "I don't need the third degree here. I just need to get this incubated so we can both move on, I suggested. If you right-click on the green W at the bottom right of the screen and select Scan Now, it will check for anything harmful. I can't do anything with that. When I click it, it says, please contact the network administrator to access. I need you to right-click on it, not left-click. I know what I am doing. It says I can't. Clearly, I needed to escalate this to the Help a Moron division. There's no need to raise your voice. I'm trying to help, I said calmly. It's simple. I need your admin rights to move something to incubation. It's not hard. Okay, I'll remote in and have a look. Please click the Rescue Me icon on your desktop. Finally, you're going to do what I asked for in the first place. As I prepared to take control of the situation, I noticed something alarming. Preparing nuclear response. 90% loaded. There's no such thing as incubation or an incubator on your computer. You mean quarantine. You believe you've downloaded a virus or opened a malicious website that has infected your system. This doesn't happen on its own. You have all the tools needed to diagnose and hopefully remove the infection. You have 2 buttons on your mouse, one on the left and one on the right, but you refuse to click the correct one in the right place. I took over their machine and ran a scan. I can see from your open internet pages that you've been trying to access several torrent sites. There are many malicious ads and links on those sites designed to trick you into visiting illicit sites or downloading questionable files. You are in breach of company policy by using company property for questionable and illegal activity. This will be logged and reported. The scan completed, revealing 5 infections removed. I noticed their system had blocked and defeated dozens of threats that day alone, indicating an ongoing issue. What? The user stammered. I'm now going to escalate this to the IT manager, who has been monitoring this call and would like a word. With a click, I ended the call. The user was quickly summoned to a meeting with HR and a manager, where they were informed about the serious breach of policy. In the end, the user even tried to sue for unfair dismissal. The IT manager actually laughed when they heard the reason was unfair invasion of privacy. AITA for not giving my sister her wedding dress because she didn't invite my underage son? I'm a 40-year-old man with a sister who is getting married in a week. The groom proposed to her a year ago at a family dinner, and it was a moment filled with joy. During that dinner, my sister asked my 17-year-old son to design her wedding dress. He has always had a passion for fashion and has taken courses in design and sewing. His friends often ask him to make clothes for them because his work is so beautiful. He agreed to create the dress, but he needed time and her input throughout the process. At first, my sister was a bit difficult. My son sketched around 50 designs in a month, and she only liked one. After 5 months of adjustments to meet her expectations, he finally completed the dress, and it looked stunning. My mother even cried when she saw my sister in it, and I nearly got emotional too. Then, last week, my son mentioned that he hadn't received a wedding invitation, while other family members had. I thought maybe it was an oversight, but it felt strange. When I reached out to my sister about it, she told me she didn't want any underage guests at her wedding because there would be alcohol. I asked if she could make an exception for my son, but she firmly said no. Since my son is the only minor in our family, I didn't understand this rule. To make matters worse, my son was heartbroken. He had spent months creating that dress and now couldn't attend the wedding. I was upset and told my sister she needed to find another dress because my son's creation wouldn't be worn by her. She called me angry, saying I was being unreasonable. My mother also called, urging me to just give her the dress and follow the rules. I couldn't do that and ended the conversation. Now our family is divided. Some agree with me, feeling my sister should have made an exception, while others think I'm being unreasonable and ruining her big day. I don't believe I'm in the wrong. I'm just standing up for my son. Update. I appreciate all the comments and suggestions. I discussed the situation with my son, and he agreed to sell the dress at its market value. We calculated the price, and it was quite high. When we presented this to my sister, she was upset, claiming she couldn't afford it, and that it should be a gift because we're family. I told her it was easy to say that when she didn't include my son. She cried during the call, begging me not to ruin her day, but I felt that was unfair. At no point did she offer to let my son attend or apologize. Some have speculated that her fiancé, who is quite religious and hasn't been close to my son, might be influencing her. Regardless, I told her that if she wanted to exclude my son, she would also be cutting ties with me. And for those asking for a photo of the dress, I'm sorry, but my son didn't agree to share it. If anything else happens, I'll keep you updated. Thank you all. If I die, especially in the next 5 days, my brother was involved somehow. I want to clarify that I don't truly believe my brother will harm me or have me harmed. Logically, it seems unlikely. But with everything that's happened, I can't shake the feeling of unease. My brother isn't what I'd call stable, but he's never been violent. If I genuinely thought he would do something, I'd be somewhere else. I just needed to share this in a space where I could express my concerns. My brother has expressed a deep resentment towards me, and while I don't think he's capable of something drastic, the recent events have left me unsettled. My dad passed away 85 days ago, and there's a clause in his will stating that if one of us dies within 90 days, we're considered to have predeceased him. So if anything were to happen to me in the next 5 days, it would look suspicious. I had a strange vehicle drive by my house recently. I live in a quiet area where that's unusual. It felt like someone was watching my home. I have security cameras and large dogs, but the situation still made me anxious. I want to document this, just in case my phone becomes evidence. My brother is struggling with grief, and he's twisted the narrative in his mind, positioning himself as the hero and me as the villain. The truth is, there are no villains here. It was just my dad's time. I'm taking precautions to stay safe. My home is secure, with locked gates and cameras at every entrance. I've been dealing with a lot regarding my brother. He's been dishonest and manipulative, but he hasn't crossed any lines that would warrant calling the police. I live in a small community where everyone knows each other, and I don't want to create unnecessary drama. I've informed my attorneys and those close to me about my concerns. I'm prepared to protect myself, even if it means taking additional measures. The vehicle that drove by really unnerved me, especially with the way they were looking at my house. But I know there's nothing illegal about driving down a road and looking at a house. Maybe they were just lost. Still, if anything were to happen to me, I want it known that my brother would be a prime suspect. I don't expect anyone to come to Reddit, but I needed to voice this possibility. It's a highly improbable scenario, but it's one that lingers in the back of my mind. Hey, let's willingly violate security policies because we think we're special and earned it. The final nail in the lax security coffin. Part 1. So, this happened about a year ago. Now that the lawsuits have finally settled, I can share my story. A high earner at our company had one of her underlings call into IT support with an issue. She was sending emails on behalf of her boss instead of using delegated access. Tech on the call took a bit to piece it together, but eventually realized the underling was logging into the high performer's account directly, rather than just adding the second mailbox. As he dug deeper, he discovered that all of her underlings were logging into her accounts everywhere, not just Outlook. He wrote up a ticket and passed it along to me after being told they wouldn't change their ways. I ran a lockout report to gauge how many devices were accessing her account. The number? 42. Imagine this, your direct supervisor. The one who actually does the work, picking up the ticket and moving quickly between tools. Then suddenly freezing in shock. That was me that day. 42 devices? Wow. I called the high performer. Hello, this is IT. I wanted to discuss a situation I've been made aware of. Several people log into your account for work. Correct? Yes, that's right. With our high volume, we need to respond quickly as me for all situations. I fought hard for this permission and won't let it go. I need to know how many devices are currently logged into your account. It's urgent. Really? Hold on. After a moment, she said, 12 devices, 5 PCs, everyone's phones, my iPad, and the reception PC. Only 12? I'm seeing 37 right now. That's not possible. The only ones who have my password are current employees. I have you change it every time we get a new one or let someone go. How do we change it? I call you guys and have you set it back to what it was before. There was a long pause. Hello? Do you not see the issue here? You've submitted several requests about disappearing loans in your system. You've asked if people could be stealing your loans, and you say you never change your password? You call in to tell us what you want it changed to. Do you not see why this is happening? When you change the password, it makes you put it back into all the devices, so it can't be that. First off, no it doesn't. Second, even if it did, they could just enter the same password again. Oh, your branch is down. I'm locking all your accounts for now, and we need to get InfoSec involved. I'm sorry, but it's out of my hands. I got up from my desk and walked into my boss's office, where he was in a meeting with the EVP of IT, the CIO, and the accounts team supervisor. Oh good, you're all here. I interrupted their meeting to relay the information. The look of horror that crept onto their faces was something you'd see in a movie. This wasn't a security loophole or a breach through intrusive means. This was a self-important user who thought they were above the law because they were a high performer. Thankfully, they were from a branch only 2 miles away, so we could limit their ability to complain to the right people to get their accounts turned back on. This day was tough for me in terms of management, and even tougher in terms of paperwork. I had never filled out legal forms before. To be continued tomorrow. Ada for buying my nephew piano lessons for his birthday. I recently decided to focus on experience gifts instead of material ones. Kids have so many toys after all. Over the past couple of years, every time my 6-year-old nephew visits, he always wants to play on my piano or asks me to play for him. So, I thought it would be a nice birthday gift to buy him a year of piano lessons at our local conservatory. I checked with his parents first, offering to drive him to lessons and even giving him my extra keyboard to practice on. I made it clear that if he wasn't interested after a year, that was fine, but if he wanted to continue, I'd cover the tuition. I just wanted to provide him with the opportunity, especially since he seems to love music. When my nephew opened the gift, he was thrilled. But after the party, I received a text from my sister-in-law saying I needed to back off. She claimed I had no right to dictate their child's activities and suggested that if I wanted to put a child in music, I should have one myself. She even mentioned that if I truly cared about their son, I would have bought him skating lessons, since they want him to play hockey. I was taken aback and didn't know how to respond. I didn't mean to overstep. I just thought it would be beneficial for him to try different things. Growing up, I participated in music, skating, swimming, and other activities, and I believe it helped me become a well-rounded person. I didn't want to take away from the special moment of them signing him up for hockey lessons. I was genuinely confused and hurt, so I talked to my brother about the text. He seemed shocked and admitted he hadn't seen it. He mentioned that there had been some unkind conversations between his wife and her family regarding my gift. They questioned why I was allowed to choose his activities and made snarky comments about the cost. My brother apologized for not stepping in during those discussions. He's usually quiet and non-confrontational, which I understand. I told him I didn't want to cause any issues for his family. I even offered to reduce the number of lessons to just 6 or 8, but he refused. He said his son had been excitedly asking when the lessons would start and agreed with the idea that if you try something, you should commit to it for a year. Later that day, my brother sent me the registration confirmation. He mentioned in our group chat that his son would treasure this gift, which truly lifted my spirits. It was quiet for my sister-in-law, but I'm willing to let it go for now. I know we'll need to talk about it in person eventually, but I hope things can cool down first. You just want me to submit tickets, no exceptions? Okay. Hey everyone, it's been a while since anything noteworthy happened in the pharmacy, but I had an experience recently that really came full circle. Back in October, we noticed our drive-through drawer was slowing down. The last time this happened, it just needed cleaning and lubrication, which is common since we use it a lot. To get any maintenance done, we usually have to submit a ticket online. The system can be frustrating. You can report everything, from software issues to physical problems, but getting someone to actually address your concerns often feels like a game of luck. To make things smoother, we would typically reach out to management, who would check on the tickets. This way, we could avoid delays and costly emergencies. We had a great assistant manager who helped with this, but he left in early November. The new store manager had a reputation for micromanaging and driving away staff, and she was strict about costs. When I approached her about the drive-through issue, she simply said, "Just submit the tickets and resubmit if nothing happens." So, I did just that. I copied the ticket numbers and sent an email to her, including my pharmacy manager. I made sure to clarify that I wouldn't be bringing up any issues, verbally or via email anymore. She confirmed that was fine. So I stopped. Days passed, and after about 10 days of resubmitting the ticket every 48 hours without any action, the situation escalated. On day 12, I opened the pharmacy and discovered the shelf wouldn't move. We had to close the lane and bring customers inside to finish their transactions. At this point, we submitted an emergency ticket to get it addressed. When we classify something as an emergency, we're guaranteed a response within a few hours. But it comes with extra costs that would make any frugal manager nervous. The parts would also be ordered automatically without needing manager approval. When the store manager found out about the emergency claim, she rushed over to ask why we hadn't informed her. I gently reminded her of her own email, instructing us to submit tickets and not to bother her with issues. Since it had been nearly 2 weeks and we couldn't operate efficiently, we had no choice but to take this route. The fallout was significant. The system we needed to replace was from the early 2000s, so they had to custom make the replacement. This involved multiple visits and a lot of complaints from customers about the drive-through being shut down for so long. If our scores dropped, it could impact bonuses too. I saw an invoice for the work, and the technician estimated the drive-through repair would cost around $25,000, not including the additional service fees. A fix that could have been initiated with the first ticket ended up costing 3 to 4 times more due to the delays. Now, the store manager has been asking me if there are any outstanding tickets that need attention. She's not my boss, but I've saved that email chain just in case she tries to shift the blame onto me in the future. The moral of the story? Take care of your issues early and listen to your employees. It'll save you a lot of money in the long run. End. My pregnant wife is starving herself and crying every day she's fat. I'm a 30-year-old man, and my wife, who is 29, is the love of my life. We've been together since we were teenagers, and now she's about 5 to 6 months pregnant. She's always had a complicated relationship with food, but it was manageable until now. In our culture, her height and weight are pretty typical, but she's always been sensitive about her body. She's around 5 feet 2.5 inches, and has maintained a weight of about 108 pounds for most of our relationship. When she weighs that much, she seems fine, but as soon as she hits 112 pounds, everything changes. She starts controlling her portions, skipping meals, and ordering 0-calorie drinks. We wanted to start a family, but once she got pregnant, her weight reached that tipping point, and it spiraled from there. In her first trimester, she tried to stay under 1,500 calories, which eventually turned into 1 meal a day. Now, in her second trimester, she's gained about 20 pounds, which is normal, but it's the heaviest she's ever been. She's even started water fasting, which means no calories for days at a time. Every day she cries, saying she feels fat and disgusting. She's lightheaded and depressed, and it breaks my heart because I think she's the most beautiful person in the world, no matter her size. She works from home 3 days a week and takes on more responsibilities to distract herself from food. She won't talk to anyone about this except for me and her 2 best friends. She refuses to tell her doctor or see a therapist because she feels embarrassed. I switched to working from home 3 days a week to keep an eye on her because I'm terrified she might faint when I'm not around. It's hard to admit, but part of me wishes she'd miscarry just to stop her suffering. I don't want to lose her. I feel so helpless. I would give up having kids if it meant she could be happy and healthy again. She is my top priority. I recently learned that where we live, abortion is allowed up to 24 weeks, and we are currently at 22 weeks. I'm overwhelmed by everything, but I plan to talk to her doctor, and I've suggested abortion to her. She hasn't pushed back against the idea. She accepted that she would gain weight during pregnancy, but she didn't expect to feel this way about it. Her eating patterns have never been extreme before. She usually only reaches that weight once every year or so, and it's typically just a few days of skipping meals. The rest of the time, she eats normally. That's why she's never been diagnosed with anything. I just needed to share this because watching the person I love destroy herself is unbearable. I feel like the worst person for wishing that my baby would just go away.